Growth-oriented leadership development. That is the subject I want to talk to you about today. I'm sure if you have been following my work, you have probably come across this phrase in one of the videos that I have produced. Now, before I get into the details of what the subject is all about, I want to give you a background. In the many situations or instances that I have taken part, in leadership development in organizations, one thing that I have discovered is that a lot of business leaders are attempting to develop leaders with just a few training sessions which they organize with a consultant or a trainer, and after those sessions they expect to come out with a mature leadership. Now, that is not how things are supposed to be. One thing we need to understand about leadership is that leadership cannot be microwaved. You cannot develop leadership in one training session or two training sessions or three training sessions. Leadership comes out of a process which is called the growth process. Therefore, we as Transform Africa leadership and business consultants have developed a framework, which helps organizations to develop their leaders and, carry them through a growth process so that we don't rush through it, and at the end of it all, you get a leadership that is mature and ready to take your organization forward. So I'll briefly run through the framework just to help you understand what it is all about. So we are calling it the Growth-Oriented Leadership Development Framework, or GOLD for short. Now, this framework has got 4 stages, which, through which we take our participants so that at the end of it all, like I have said, you come out with a leadership that is ready to take your organization forward. Now, what are those 4 stages? The first stage is what we are calling the transformation stage. Now, what does that mean? When you want to develop a leadership or a group of leaders in an organization, the first thing that you are supposed to do is to bring about an environment that will cause a transformation in the leader. Now, what does that mean? When we talk about transformation, we are talking about the philosophies, the beliefs of your leaders. What ideas do they have about leadership? Because ultimately, what they believe about leadership, or the beliefs they have or they carry about leadership, is what they are going to demonstrate as their leadership styles. And ultimately, that is what is going to determine what kind of leaders they are. So, the transformation stage is a stage where you have to deal with leadership philosophy. So at this stage, we teach leaders principles, that govern genuine leadership. Then the second stage is what we are calling the demonstration stage. Now at this stage, once you have started influencing the thinking, the philosophies, the belief systems of your leaders, then now you start helping them to practice the principles which they have learned at the first level. So at this stage, it's action. You put your principles into action. Then as that process begins to go, then you move to the next stage, which we are calling the reinforcement stage. Now at the reinforcement stage, this is where you start measuring the progress of development of your leaders. Now, how do you measure that development? There are a lot of tools on the market which you can use to measure the progress, which your leaders are making through the transformation and demonstration process. And one of the tools which I used is the 360-degree, leadership assessment tool. So you use those tools, you measure the progress of your leaders, and then you discover or determine the deficiencies which you need to deal with as you develop your leaders in that organization. Then the third stage is what we are calling the reinforcement stage. Because after measuring, the progress of your leaders, you have ultimately identified the weaknesses and the gaps which you need to fill. So after identifying those gaps, then you now need to reinforce the development or the process of development, so that at the end of it all, you come with a fully developed leader, from that training process. Then after that, we come to the last stage, which is called the replication stage. Now, at the replication stage, this is where we begin to train trainers of trainers. What does that mean? It means that after we have trained this group of leaders in your organization, Then now we begin to equip them to train the next group, which will train the next group, and ultimately you cascade your leadership principles through the organization. So in a nutshell, that is the GOLD framework, the growth-oriented leadership development framework. This is a framework that has been developed by Transform Africa Leadership and Business Consultants. Now, the way we conduct this program is that we begin with the top leaders in the organization, because ultimately they are the ones who determine the rhythm, which everybody else is going to follow in the organization. So we begin with the top leaders, we train them, we equip them, we take them through the 4 stages, and then we cascade it down, to the next level until it reaches the lowest ranks in the organization. And at the end of it all, you are going to have a fully developed leadership team that is ready to take your organization forward. So for more information on this program, you can visit my YouTube page, Elijah Sinyinza, or you can visit my Facebook page. You can also get in touch with me at elijahsinyinza@gmail.com. We'll get to discuss and we'll see how we are going to help you. So until the next time, see you. Thank you very much.